Good afternoon, Neurofeedback moms. This is Miriam Bellamy. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I am the mom who started this group and whole family neurofeedback. Thanks for joining us today in this series, The Real Moms of Neurofeedback. I have with us one of our own, Kristine, as a group member who rented the equipment from us a few months ago for her family. Kristine, you want to introduce yourself?
So I'm Kristine, as she mentioned, and I have 4 kids. I've been married for it'll be 15 years in September.
So 14 Nice.
Yes, so we've been married for 14 years.
How old are your kids?
They are 11, 9, and 8, and then 18. Well, I guess she's like 20 months now. So
Okay.
about a 6-year gap between the last 2. And we've moved around just a little bit. Yeah, so that's kind of us.
You moved around a lot. I know we were just talking, you lived in Texas once. Where else have you lived?
Yep. So mostly just in northern Idaho. I'm from Lewiston. My husband's from Potlatch. They're about an hour apart. And then we went to the U of I for school, and kind of bounced around between Moscow, Lewiston, and Potlatch, and then did Texas for 3.5 years. So now we're back in North Idaho.
How have you been doing with quarantine?
With quarantine, actually pretty well, because I homeschool. So that's another part of our family is that
it wasn't a huge change.
You're right. We started homeschooling just at the beginning of this year. So that was a change. Well, the beginning of the school year. So that was a change for us, but it was something that I had actually wanted to do for a very long time. So I had a lot of friends that helped me with that and everything. And so far, I'm not that homeschooling mom that does a million different side, trips and all that kind of stuff. I've mostly just been staying at home and trying to get it figured out and stuff. So it hasn't really been too much of a change.
On Facebook, gardening?
Yes. So I love to garden. That started for me probably about 8 years ago. And I love square foot gardening. So it makes it a whole lot more manageable than the long rows and that kind of stuff. And so yes, I love to garden. I spend a couple of hours every day out in my garden, and I love it.
I might actually hit you up, because when we moved to Colorado, I started gardening for the first time in my life, like vegetable garden type stuff. So we're doing potatoes and carrots this year. I've never done those, and onions. They seem a little tricky, so I'm going to hit you up.
Are you doing onions from the little starts, or are you doing them from seed? I've never done them from seed. Okay.
All right, so you'll tell me about that later. So, tell us how you heard about neurofeedback. How did you learn about it?
So it was actually from another homeschooling mom.
Okay.
Who heard about it from another homeschooling mom.
I think I know both of those moms. Yes. They've also had a lot of conversations. Go ahead.
Yes. So I have a daughter who has ADHD.
Okay.
And I have another daughter who has a learning disability.
Okay.
And so my friend Melinda, who's the homeschooling mom that I heard about it from, I think I actually was down visiting her when I heard about it for the first time.
Okay.
And she was telling me about this machine that you hook up to your head, and it just it helps to to help your brain remap itself is kind of how I remember her explaining it. And I'm not a detail person. So I was just like, oh, tell me more. And she didn't, I think at that time she didn't have a lot of information, but she was like, you listen to this music, and there might be some little short breaks in it. And it just helps your brain heal itself.
Okay.
And so that really intrigued me, because I believe the homeschooling mom that she heard about it from was using it um, for a son that had, I want to say, autism.
Okay.
And so it intrigued me because of my ADHD child. Um, and and so um, that was how I heard about it. And so her and I, kind of kept in touch about that. And I finally was just like, okay, I need this.
Try it out finally. Yeah.
Yes.
What it would do for your family. So what did it do for your family? What did you notice during your rental?
So we rented it for a month. And the first thing that I noticed across the board for everyone was sleep.
Okay.
My ADHD child has a really hard time falling asleep and staying asleep. And she slept really, really well during that month. And since then she's been sleeping better.
Okay. That means she fell asleep easier or stayed asleep or
both.
Okay.
She fell asleep easier, and she stayed asleep.
And how old is she?
She is 9.
Okay.
Yep. And I really, really, really noticed it with my husband right away. He is a light sleeper, super, super light sleeper. And he, in the 14 years that we've been married, I think I can count on one hand the number of times that he's woken up and said, I slept well.
Wow.
He just doesn't sleep well. And he has I think that's kind of part of how he deals with stress, is by not sleeping well. And the first night I hooked him up, he fell asleep during the session. And so I just pushed to start another one. Because he was kind of, I'm going to be honest, he was kind of on the fence about this. He was like, really, Kristine?
So many husbands are. You have to educate them.
And so yeah, I pushed the start button again, and he did 2 sessions that night, and he slept so well. So well. And he just continued to sleep well. I just continued to have him do them at night. And he slept phenomenal. There was like 3 or 4 times that he decided that he just wanted to go to bed. And I'll be honest, he didn't sleep well those nights. And so he was always much more willing. And actually several nights he said, hey, can I do a session tonight?
Okay. So on the nights when he wasn't having a session, he wasn't sleeping as well.
Correct.
All right.
It was not as bad as before we started.
Okay.
But he still didn't sleep as well.
Okay.
And
his body was needing some more of that initial injection. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. Yep. For me, I noticed sleep, but I kind of sleep like the dead anyway. But what I did notice is I'm not a morning person at all. And so what I noticed is that I was dreaming more, and remembering those dreams, and also that I was waking up easier. It wasn't, I don't do coffee or caffeine. And so, how I wake up, or the process in which I wake up, is just long and drawn out. But I don't find that it's as drawn out anymore. And I noticed that really fast with the neurofeedback.
Okay.
And I continue to notice that that it just doesn't take me as long to wake up in the morning, which is great for a homeschooling mom.
Actually, for any mom, but yeah, being able to get up and go is so big. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, consequently, I find that I get more done during the day, which is great. So yeah, for sure, across the board, I feel like sleep was our number one thing that we found, which sleep to me is so huge in your life because it affects so much. Some other things that I noticed, my husband, as I mentioned, he doesn't deal super well with stress.
Okay.
And he's been better about that. In fact, we found out that he was losing his job. I think it was like a week before we returned the machine.
Okay.
He got told that his position was being cut. And that was right before COVID got big here. So COVID was a thing, just not here. And so COVID wasn't really something that we had kind of factored into the job hunt thing at that point. But anyway, so he found that out, I think about a week before we returned the machine. And so I kind of expected stress levels to be super, super high. And in a way they are, but I feel like we're dealing with them differently than we would have before. I've never, I don't know, I've never seen him handle such a stressful situation in such a calm manner, ever. And he, I don't know, he still isn't sleeping super well. But with the amount of stress load that was added to just his everyday life, I feel like he's sleeping better than I would have imagined. Some other things that I noticed. So I'm a fairly driven person. Like I just want to get things done. And he's not really that way. And so Saturday morning we sleep in. But when I'm done sleeping in, I'm done and I want to get up and I want to get things done because Saturday's our only work day because Sunday is a rest day for us. And so my honey-do list is very long. So let's get up and at 'em. And Saturday's his one day to sleep in and just really enjoy that. And so Saturdays have always kind of been a struggle. His expectations and desires versus my expectations and desires. They were not, and yet I found that Saturday mornings we were talking and laughing in bed and just enjoying that moment, which is just very not me.
Yeah. I can see. I want to say I can see the emotion in your face. I mean, how meaningful that was to you to be able to have that relaxing time.
Yeah. I felt like we were finally connecting in a way that honestly I'm not sure that we'd really connected ever. Because I was never willing to slow down and take that time. And so
willing or able, I would imagine it helped for him to feel rested and relaxed, for him to be responding differently as well.
Yes.
When you're not alone and sort of getting in marriage and getting in those loops that we get just stuck in, right? I mean, I've been married for, however many years, 19, whatever, 19 now, I think. Yes.
You're tuned to do the math.
Yes. So yeah, and you're not alone in sort of neurofeedback helping people to sort of just edge just out of those stuck places where you can get resentful, you can get stuck, you can get a little depressed about it, whatever, and it can just edge you right out of that. I've experienced that myself. So yeah, it's really nice. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, very much so.
What did you notice with the kids besides the sleep, or in addition to the sleep? I mean, that has its own cascade of impact, sleeping better.
Yes, yes. So to be honest, I feel like I pushed too hard
Okay.
with the neurofeedback, because I was in a hurry to see results, and
Are you an oldest?
no, but I'm an only
Oh, well, that's the same
girl.
thing. Yes.
Only girl. So I have 6 brothers, and I'm smack dab in the middle.
Okay.
And my mom's very OCD. And so I was the only one she trusted to do things. So I kind of am an oldest in that respect, I guess. Just I anyway. So so I was like, okay, results, results, results. That's what we need. um and so and I remember that I had a phone conversation with Christy, because I'm very interested in this, in the business aspect of it. And
That's,
so
by the way, people listening, that's Kristine, who is also a member of the group, who also does this kind of neurofeedback. So yeah, go ahead.
yes. So Melinda and I had actually had a phone conversation with her. And I remember that she had mentioned that, you can push too hard too fast. And that your brain doesn't really like that, and you can have some just temporary, I don't want to say side effects, but just like grouchiness and just your brain saying, hold up a bit. And I feel like that's what I did. And I think I contacted you, or maybe I just was talking to Melinda, I don't remember, about it. And I said, am I pushing too hard? Even though I'm seeing the sleep results, maybe this is just not, maybe it's too much, because I was seeing some grouchiness. And also, I should mention that I live in less than 450 square feet with all 4 of my children and husband. We have a big backyard, but I don't even remember. Was this back in February that I rented it?
I don't know.
So it was still cold enough that like the kids weren't outside a lot, and anyway, so I was like, I don't know, maybe it's just the 450 square feet that's getting to them, or whatever. But I was seeing some grouchiness and that kind of stuff. But along with that, I also felt like I had more capability to not be screaming and yelling at them, because that's something that I struggle with. And I felt like I had more patience to deal with that grouchiness.
Okay.
So I backed off. I think it was the last week that I had it that I finally decided, okay, I just need to back off, and we're only going to do 2 sessions in this last week with them. And I felt like that was better.
Okay. So did their energy come down a little bit? Did they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
They just need a little break.
Yes. And I did feel like my daughter, with the ADHD, that she was better able to communicate her frustrations.
Yeah.
Like she was talking more. In fact, my husband was like, she's getting kind of sassy. and I was like, true, she's vocalizing it more, but I don't know that she was vocalizing anything that she was being nonverbal about before.
Mhm.
Like before it was all scowls and
Mhm.
pouty, and she still had those emotions, but
Mhm.
she was verbalizing them more.
Yeah.
So he was seeing she's getting sassy. I was just seeing she's actually putting words to
Yeah.
her emotions.
Yeah, it's you're bringing up such an important experience that I try to convey to parents, I guess, when we're working, when their children, if they do become a bit on the sassy side, again, you're not alone in this, that I'll hear that. I hear that as very good news, like you were able to process it, that they're able to start putting some words to it. And then it's on us to not be reactive like you were, and then teach them ways that are appropriate to express those feelings. But it's such an important developmental stage they can get to, just like what you're describing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and it's been, I want to say about 2 months since we returned it.
Yeah. Sounds like you're
Um,
ready for some more.
yes. I really am. Like
Yeah.
if if so the job is still uncertain.
Okay.
And stuff, but I really want to just buy a machine.
Yeah.
I am 100% convinced of what it does, that it helps,
Yeah.
um, and that um, that we've all benefited from it, um, and and that we would continue to benefit from it.
Yeah.
So
You
yeah.
don't have to respond to this right now, but I don't know if you've seen, but Neuroptimal is doing this incredible financing thing right now where it's 0% financing. So they're doing the 0%. They're doing an extended like 36 months. So your monthly payment could be like $250 a month.
Dang.
Yeah, I know there, and you don't have to pay your first monthly payment for like 2 months or something. It's like 60-day deferred. So we can
Wow.
talk about that when we go off, but that might be helpful for people to know too, because it is. I mean, right now, right, with so much uncertainty, they're doing what they can to help.
Right. That's
So
awesome.
anyway, we'll talk.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So the other thing that just I remembered about was my migraine.
Hmm,
So I get migraines. I actually started getting migraines in the ninth grade. And I saw a specialist about them because I would get these blurs on the side of my vision.
okay.
And then I would actually lose sight. And they diagnosed it as complicated migraines. I think that they said that there's this huge long word for it, but basically they just call them complicated migraines. um, and so my grandma actually had them, and when she started having children, that that just kind of went away. But for me, when I started having children, it actually got worse. And I would have them more often. So in high school, I probably had them, maybe once or twice a month. And when I started having babies, it went up. And it's kind of been in and out. I That 6-year break between the kids, I didn't have a whole lot of them, and I felt like I was getting them under control. I didn't really know what I was doing to get them under control, but they were better. Um and I, was trying to be healthy and, be really conscious of what I was putting in my body, because they recommended like a whole list of vitamins for me to take to get these migraines under control. Um, but I also would notice that, like with chiropractic care, it would help as well. And so there was just a lot of things that factored into my migraines. If I don't get sleep, um, then I'm almost guaranteed to have a migraine. Um, and so anyway, I'd been doing really pretty well with my migraines, and everything. Um, but one night I was getting I was getting the kids ready for bed, and I had the machine. It was while I had the machine, I was getting the kids ready for bed, and I felt one coming on, but it was a little bit different. And sometimes they are different. Like they're not the blurred vision and that kind of stuff. Sometimes they're just very different. Um, anyway, and so I was getting the kids ready for bed, and I felt this pain, nagging pain, and I was like, okay, it'll once I get the kids in bed, I'll get some medication and it'll be fine. Um, but I was laying down with Mary Jo, my last one, and it just was getting super intense, super fast. Um, and she was asleep. I got up and I felt super nauseous. And I made it to the couch, which, in less than 400 square feet is not very far. I made it to the couch, and I laid my head on the seat, and I was kneeling down on the couch, and I had my hands like this, and I just felt so nauseous, and I started crying because it just hurt so bad. Um, and anyway, Preston was there, and he was like, "What can I do for you?" And I said, "Can you just get the machine? Like, I just feel like if I got the machine on, that maybe it would help this, because once my migraines are there, pretty much nothing helps. I've tried narcotics, I've tried special migraine pills that are supposed to make them go away within minutes, and nothing has worked. And anyway, I just was like, so this is my one shot. And anyway, so I got it on, and I had it on for just a few minutes. When I got so nauseous, I actually, lost my dinner in a bowl. Thankfully, I was, aware enough to ask for that.
Good.
But it was funny because right before that, I started feeling a little bit better. And then that happened. And then by the end of the session, I was just feeling the lingerings of a migraine, which is normally how I feel the day after a migraine.
Okay.
And so I was like, well, it can't hurt to do another. So I pushed the start button, and that one I fell asleep during, and woke up and felt like I'd never even had a migraine.
Okay.
Which for me is pretty stinking amazing. Because I've never had that before.
So here to me is the most amazing thing. So what with Neuroptimal, we don't target anything. We can't fix a migraine. So what happened is your brain said, whoop, nope, I got to do something different. You did that. Like for me, because I have a chronic illness, after you have migraines for a long time, or you don't feel well for a long time, you start to feel like my body is just not my friend. And with this, it's like your body took care of you. I mean, wow.
Yeah. And it was really interesting because during that first session, I am weird and pay attention to the stops and stuff of the music. I'd always only had just little breaks in the music, little pauses, whatever. During that first session, I actually looked at the computer because I thought it shut off. Like I thought my session had stopped because the pause was so long.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'd never had that before, and I'd not had that in the sessions remaining after that happened.
Yeah.
Never had it again.
Okay.
So I was like, whoa, like it really is giving my brain feedback of what's happening right now.
Yeah.
Which was really cool.
Very cool, Kristine. Very empowering. At least it has been for me, but it sounds like I know it was for you.
Yeah.
Are the kids starting to roll in now?
Well, one of them just let in our cat. So I was like, oh, what's going on?
Well, any final thoughts for today for the moms in the group or anyone that
it's worth it. That's what I would say is I mean, I just hearing testimonies of it before we got the machine.
Yeah.
I was on board with it.
Yeah.
My husband was not, but I was. After our month trial, I'm convinced. I know without a doubt that it works and it helps, and how it works and helps is going to be different. But that it does work. And my husband is also convinced of that, which is pretty big because, you know, he doesn't believe in things like this.
I know all about husbands. Yeah, but you led the way and you helped him. Your family. So thank you, Kristine.
Thank you.
Stand by and we'll chat a little bit afterwards. Thanks for anybody who tuned in. Feel free to watch and comment and whatever. Kristine's in the group, so she'll be able to see your comments as well. So thanks, everybody. Take care.